Welcome at Pizza and More. In the last video we made together a Lievito Madre, so the Italian version of a sourdough. I'm Jürgen, and because we have now the Lievito Madre, we make today a pizza dough without any yeast. We are using as yeast our Lievito Madre. The Lievito Madre is a kind of pre-dough, which means it's not really necessary to have that long fermentation time, because during the long fermentation time our dough gets more taste and more aroma. Our Lievito Madre is already our pre-dough with lots of aroma. And therefore we have this time a relatively short leavening time of only 24 hours. If you have a Lievito Madre where the last refreshing happened around 48 hours ago, so 2 days ago, then you directly can use this. If your refreshing of the Lievito Madre was before 2 days, so we have to refresh it now because the last refreshing should be relatively fresh. And these are the ingredients we need for the refreshing. I have here 65 grams of Lievito Madre. I have here 65 grams of zero flour, so type 0. And I have here 40 grams of 30 degrees warm water. At first we pour the water into the bowl and then we add directly our Lievito Madre and then we mix this up. It does not need to be totally homogeneous, it's okay if it's a bit mixed. And then as next we add our flour. And then we mix everything up. You also could do it by hand. I prefer to do it with such a spatula. And then if everything is mixed up, then we form a ball or something like this. And here you can already see we have here a hydration of 60% in our pre-dough. It is really a bit dry, it's strong, it's absolutely great, like a Lievito Madre should be. Then we clean the side of the bowl and then we let it raise. We cover now this bowl with a plastic wrap or with a lid. It doesn't matter with what. It is important to close it, and then we let it raise for 12 hours at room temperature. After 12 hours the Lievito Madre is finished. If you have, as I said, a Lievito Madre which is already refreshed, you can directly use it. But for all those who refresh the Lievito Madre, we have to wait 12 hours. Now it's fantastic and we can start with making our main dough. Our main dough in sum will have a hydration of 65%. The flour I use here is a flour type 0 with a medium W value of 280 and a protein value of 13%. And here are all our ingredients. This is, as I said here, the flour. I have here 410 grams of type 0 flour. I have here 15 grams of fine sea salt. I have here 170 grams of our Lievito Madre, and I have here 280 grams cold water. The first we add into our bowl is our water, and the second we add is directly the Lievito Madre. And then we let the mixer run for a couple of minutes so that the Lievito Madre and the water is mixed up a little bit. And after 2 minutes we can directly add the flour. And we also can add the salt, because here we don't have to be careful that the yeast and the salt doesn't get in contact with each other, because we have no normal yeast. And now we start mixing at a very slow speed for around 2 to 5 minutes. Then we increase the speed and then we will speed around 20 minutes until the window test works. It's really absolutely important to wait until the dough is ready kneaded. My dough took now round about 22-23 minutes, and now it released from the bowl and it is a nice ball inside of the bowl. You really have to be patient, otherwise the dough is not ready kneaded. It's very hard to over knead such a dough made from wheat flour. Once I made a video and then I tested and how long it takes. I make now the window test to see if it's really ready kneaded, if the gluten structure is built nicely. Therefore, I covered already my hands with water. You also could use some olive oil or some flour. And then, therefore, for the window test, we take out a piece of dough. We shape a bit of a ball. And then we stretch it to see if it's possible to stretch it. And we can already see it is possible. Fantastic kneaded. Now it's time to take the dough out of the bowl and to shape a dough ball. And here we have now our dough out of the machine, and now we do several times stretch and fold. For stretch and fold, you take your dough, you lift it up, release it from the counter, put it back, stretch it here, stretch it over and fold it over. And we do exactly the same several times. And then you will see how nice the structure on the surface will be, and the dough stops sticking. If we done this several times, then we can also turn this dough, and we use our little fingers, go under and pull the dough. Then we turn it and we pull it and we turn it, and we do this several times until the surface is nice and strong. If the dough sticks and you have a spatula or something like this, you also could use a spatula. And here also you will see it. You receive a nice and strong surface. And if we did this, we take the dough ball and place it in a dough ball container or box. And very important, we close the lid. We let this now raise for around 1 to 2 hours at room temperature, and then we place it for 10 hours in the fridge. You might think I want to make the dough balls right now or in 30 minutes. Well, if we use Lievito Madre, I would strongly recommend to do the bulk fermentation for a bit a longer period of time, because we have no yeast, and through the Lievito Madre we have all the microorganisms and all the wild yeast in a bigger concentration if we have the big dough ball. If we have already small dough balls for the pizza, then we have only a reduced amount of these microorganisms and of these wild yeast, and then the result is not that nice as if we would do the bulk fermentation for a longer period of time. And now to the mozzarella. I said this in each video, but maybe someone looks only this video, and then I think the information is also required to get or to give this information. If you have mozzarella which is in this liquid, in this liquid in the bag, then please open it and pour this liquid, this salty water away. Cut the mozzarella into sticks like French fries, then put it into a sieve and let it drain for around 12 or 24 hours, because this is required that all this liquid which is inside of our mozzarella drains out. Otherwise we would have, so the water which is in the cheese would then come out during baking, and then we have all the water on our pizza, and then the result is not that nice. So therefore please take it out and let it drain. Now after a leavening time of around 12 hours, it's time to make our pizza balls. I already took out the dough out of the fridge. I have it here. I take it now out of the container onto my counter, and then we make our pizza balls. Here you can see now the dough. I try to keep always the surface which was already on top also for creating the pizza balls. As I say always, now we can only divide it by 3 and make the pizza balls, or you use a balance and you make for each pizza ball exactly the same weight. This is what I do. I measure all my dough balls and the target will be around 290 grams. If you want to have smaller pizzas with a diameter of only 25 centimeters, for example, then the pizza ball shouldn't be heavier than 270 grams. So I make always pizzas with a diameter of 30 to 33 centimeters, and that's the reason why I take 290 grams. For making the pizza balls, we try to keep the surface, as I already said, on top, and then we take the rest of the dough and we push the dough always under. You see, I stretch it here over the top and then I press it here into the bottom. I can also use here these fingers, and then I take the other hand and I always push the dough from the side towards the bottom and into the center of the dough ball, and then we have a nice surface on our dough ball which is nice strong. It's also not sticking, as you see. And then we press here the bottom so that the bottom is closed, and then the pizza ball is ready, or we take it onto the counter and then we roll it here a bit and we stretch the dough ball with our fingers. We go here under, or we use both hands like we did with the big ball as well. We turn it and we pull. We don't roll, we pull. And we do it again, and then you see we have here a nice and strong surface, and then we check the bottom if the bottom is already closed, and if not, then we press the dough here together so that the bottom of the dough ball is nicely closed, and then we place our pizza ball in the container. And this is what we do now with all the 3. And here you can see the 3 dough balls in my container. Now it's important again to close the lid of the container to protect our dough balls from drying out. And now we take them directly back into the fridge and we let them raise now for the rest of the time until we bake. Well, however, if the room temperature is warm, let's say around or between above 22 degrees, let's say it like this, then we take the dough out of the fridge 2 hours before baking. If it's colder, only around 20 degrees, then you can take it out 4 hours before baking. And if it's then around 18 degrees or so, room temperature, I speak always about room temperature, where the dough will resist after taking it out of the fridge, then it could be also 5 or 6 hours. But here we have it actually very warm, so I will take it out 2 hours before baking. 2 hours ago, I took my dough out from the fridge. I have to say the balls did not rise that heavy like with a normal yeast, but I think it is important that the dough rises, or that the crust rises in the oven, and not right now. If it rises right now, then there might be the danger that the dough will not rise in the oven. So therefore, it doesn't matter. We will see the result at the end. All my ingredients are already prepared. I have here the San Marzano tomatoes. I smashed the San Marzano tomatoes by hand, and I only added 4 grams of olive oil. If you want to know how I make this, or if you want to know everything around the San Marzano tomatoes or the tomatoes in general, then please have a look on my video which I have created. I linked it here in the video description. Then I have here fresh basil. Of course we could add the fresh basil also to the tomato sauce, but I add the fresh basil later on to the pizza. The same counts for the olive oil. We also could add some olive oil. I would recommend around 5 grams to our tomato sauce, but I will add the olive oil also later on. Then I have here fior di latte, or mozzarella, and my semolina. how we take out the dough balls out of the box, I also have a video around this, and this video will also be linked in the video description. However, I will say a few words how we take it out. And we take in the first instance some semolina, we put it everywhere on top of the dough ball we want to take out, and also everywhere where the dough ball is attached to someone else. So either to another dough ball or to the side of the box. And then we take our spatula and we release the dough ball everywhere where it's connected to something else. And then we take it out, we take some semolina, and with the spatula we bring the semolina under, and then we lift it out. It's absolutely important that this dough ball doesn't stick somewhere, otherwise the dough might be stressed and it's impossible to stretch it. Then we take our semolina and put the dough ball into the semolina. The remaining dough will be closed, or the box will be closed again to protect the remaining dough from drying out. And then we flip our dough ball several times in the semolina. Here it's absolutely important not to be too brutal to our dough ball, otherwise it will be stressed and we have no chance to stretch it anymore. If the dough ball is not really round, we make it round with our fingertips, and then we start pressing from the center towards the crust, all the air to the crust, and here in the crust, or we let around 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters of crust over. This pie doesn't have the final size right now. We will make the final size later on when it's on the peel. The first we add is tomato sauce. Then some grana padano or parmesan cheese, of course not the whole block. And then we add some fresh basil. And then it's already time for our cheese. Here I have to say again, on a Neapolitan pizza, less is more. If we add too much cheese, it will taste not really that nice than with less cheese. But however, if you want to have lots of cheese, you can also add lots of cheese. But I would really recommend try it once with not that much. Then a bit of nice olive oil, and then it's ready for the peel. To launch it onto the peel, we put some semolina on the peel, and then we lift the dough, push the peel under, and then we stretch the pizza to its final size. My peel has a size of 33 centimeters, and that's also the size of pizza I want to have. And now it's time for the oven. And here is our pizza. What do you say? And this is without any normal yeast. This is only with Lievito Madre, and you see it's absolutely crispy and totally nice, full of air. And now we cut it. No, at first we decorate it with some fresh leaves of basil. And now we cut it. And look here how full of air this very nice pizza is. And now I can't wait for tasting it. As always, I take the first time a bite from the center. And the center tastes absolutely fantastic. You can taste every single ingredient separately. It's really fantastic. But now it's time for the crust. The taste is amazing. So the aroma is really great. This comes from our Lievito Madre, from the sourdough, which is clear. There might be a bit of a sour taste, not so heavy, a soft sour taste, but okay, this comes from the Lievito Madre or from the sourdough, which is total normal, but it is absolutely delicious. If you might have some Lievito Madre or some sourdough, maybe from baking bread or something like this, or if you watched my last video and you created your own Lievito Madre, well, however, the Lievito Madre, the video is linked here, then you can use this as well. And if you like this video or my videos, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel. And then we see us in the next video. Ciao!